A&M-Corpus Christi is officially back under Stage 1 water restrictions. An ICE agent who was jailed in South Texas has been released, and 1 in 3 construction workers claim unemployment in several Rio Grande Valley counties. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. It's Friday, August 28th. Yesterday, Corpus Christi eased its water restrictions to Stage 1 for the first time in more than 2 years. Corpus Christi was last under Stage 1 water restrictions in March 2024. City officials said that the combined capacity of Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon reservoirs was at more than 40%. That allows for the decreasing water restrictions per the city's drought contingency plan. The combined capacity is expected to remain at more than 40% through September. The city previously downgraded restrictions this month to Stage 2 after July state floodwaters boosted Lake Corpus Christi. The eased restrictions will permit residents to lawn watering and landscaping once a week. An ICE agent who had been accused of shooting a Venezuelan immigrant in northern Minneapolis was released from jail in South Texas, where he had been awaiting extradition to Minnesota. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider reports.
Thursday marked the maximum amount of time ICE agent Christian Castro could be held in jail while waiting for Governor Greg Abbott to decide whether to sign Minnesota's extradition warrant. Here's Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty.
I am told that Governor Abbott claims to be tough on crime. How exactly is he tough on crime by manipulating an extradition process that is supposed to be administrative?
Attorneys from Minnesota had sought to extend Castro's detention, calling him a flight risk. A spokesperson for Abbott said the judge's refusal rebuffed Minnesota's efforts to conscript federal courts into commandeering the authority of Governor Abbott's office. I'm Andrew Schneider in Houston.
Chris 6 News reports that the Refugio Town Council met Thursday night for a special call meeting. Members went into executive session for about 2 hours to consult with the city attorney. The meeting took place 2 weeks after 5 people, including Mayor Wanda Dukes, were indicted. When council returned to open session, an agenda item was requested to discuss changing who is authorized to sign on the city's bank accounts and other signatory accounts. The request will be discussed at a later date. The council also considered 4 items involving grants on Thursday. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal reports that construction workers made up nearly 1/3 of unemployment claims filed in Hidalgo, Starr, and Willacy counties during the first 3 months of this year. A Workforce Solutions Lower Rio Grande Valley report analyzed unemployment claims made from January through March. Of the about 8,400 claims filed, more than 2,600 came from construction workers, about 31% of the total. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal is in partnership with KEDT. 25 News Now reports that a 14-year-old girl was arrested last week by the Victoria County Sheriff's Office after authorities said she made a school threat on social media. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's Houston Field Office launched an investigation in collaboration with the county sheriff's office. Authorities said the student attempted to conceal her identity after making the threat. She has been charged with terroristic threat. In state news, President Donald Trump continues his 2-day visit of Texas today. He was at NASA's Johnson Space Center to present Congressional Space Medals of Honor to the crew of the Artemis II mission. Last night, he headlined a private Republican National Committee event. Texas Comptroller Don Huffines has called on local governments to provide property tax relief and for school districts to cut bloat. Texas Public Radio's Brian Kirkpatrick reports his comments came during a legal seminar on taxation in San Antonio.
With sales tax collections distributed this month coming in 13% higher than last year statewide, Huffine says local government should consider using that revenue to cut back on property taxes. He says in the past 10 years in Texas, a growing share of mortgage payments are made up of property taxes. He calls that one of the single biggest barriers between young Texans and their first home. Huffines also announced forthcoming performance reviews for school districts that will look for administrative bloat, or dollars that should be spent on teachers and students instead. I'm Brian Kirkpatrick in San Antonio.
Governor Greg Abbott this week directed the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board to establish a working group to develop a statewide framework for a 3-year bachelor's degree. By allowing students to complete degrees in less time, the aim is to reduce college costs and accelerate entry into high-demand, high-wage careers. December 31st is the deadline for framework recommendations to be turned in to the governor's office. 2 people in Pennsylvania have died in connection with measles as the U.S. experiences its worst measles year in decades. Now, a Texas doctor and former congressman is urging parents to make sure their children are protected as they return to school. Dr. Michael Burgess said measles is highly contagious and parents may not know whether other children around their own are vaccinated.
moms and dads should be concerned as they send their children back to school. Make sure your child is protected, because you don't know if the child sitting on either side of them is protected, and if they're not, there's the possibility that they could carry one of these illnesses.
Burgess says measles can cause serious complications, including brain inflammation and pneumonia. He says vaccination remains the best way to prevent measles. A debate over books in Texas's public school libraries picked up new attention last week after Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick threatened legislative action unless school districts pull books from the shelves that he and certain activists believe are harmful for students and families. The dispute centered in West Texas, where activists are claiming that a Lubbock school district is breaking state law. KTTZ's Brad Bird breaks down what happened.
A group of citizens in Lubbock gathered with members of the national conservative activist organization Turning Point USA and the group Citizens for Education Reform. They met to call on leaders in the Lubbock Independent School District to remove books that they believe contain inappropriate content for young people. The works they listed included Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, a 2012 book about a high school senior and a classmate who's diagnosed with leukemia. The book has been frequently challenged in school districts, including Lubbock ISD. Stephen Lara with Turning Point USA argued that this is just one of more than 1,000 books that they believe are, quote, indecent material, negatively affecting students, and should be removed from Lubbock school libraries. Lara also said that Lubbock ISD's library book review process is not just inefficient for those who want to remove books from school libraries, but also, he claimed, it's breaking Texas law.
And according to Senate Bill 13, it is the school board's responsibility to keep these harmful books out of our schools, not wait until a parent or concerned citizen discovers them and files a challenge request.
Signed into law last year, Senate Bill 13 established a requirement for local school library advisory councils, or SLACs, to process and review book challenges from parents. So Lubbock ISD's SLAC was established with parents who have children in the district. The district stated that to challenge a book, parents, district employees, or, quote, someone who lives in the district's boundaries can fill out the reconsideration form by following the information on the Parent and Community Resources page of their website. According to Lubbock ISD, as soon as a book is challenged through the SLAC reconsideration process, it is pulled from the shelves until it can be reviewed and voted on, and students have no access to challenged books while SLAC is conducting its review. In the past 2 years, Lubbock ISD stated there have been fewer than 150 challenges submitted through this process. Of those challenges, Lubbock ISD said 10 books have been removed completely from school libraries, and several others have been moved up to higher grade levels. Within days of Turning Point's appearance in Lubbock, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick led a press conference joining the claim that, quote, harmful books are affecting Texas public school students, and school districts across Texas, he claims, are violating SB 13 with their review systems.
Senate Bill 13 says they should be removed, but what we're finding out is about 80% of the school districts have not done anything, and some school districts push back.
While Patrick gave some examples of the, quote, filthy, dirty, vulgar books that he believes are, quote, disrupting families from school libraries, he referred those watching to a list by activists that includes more than 2,000 titles.
It's the law, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. or Mrs. Librarian. It's the law. And we expect you to follow the law. So we're coming for the books. We ask that you do it on your own and remove these books.
Hours after Patrick's press conference, Lubbock ISD's Board of Trustees met for a previously scheduled public hearing. The agenda for Lubbock ISD trustees included 2 appeals on 8 challenged books that were processed through the district's SLAC and returned. For over 2 hours, more than 40 speakers gave public comments on the accessibility of certain books in school libraries, the rights of parents, and whether they feel Lubbock ISD's SLAC system meets the requirements of state law. Many speakers who were opposed to the books and the school's SLAC policy used their allotted time to read pre-printed pages of passages from books containing sexual scenes or using colloquial terms for genitalia, and some describing scenes involving drugs. I'm Brad Burt in Lubbock.
And in sports, Texas A&M-Corpus Christi pitcher Nathan Mueller is joining Major League Baseball. The Islanders signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Milwaukee Brewers this week. The Fort Worth native joined the Islanders prior to the 2026 campaign after spending 2 seasons at Rose State College in Oklahoma. In his lone season with the Islanders, Mueller appeared in 20 games and made 5 starts. posting a record of 1-1 while striking out 29 batters in 29.1 innings. Mueller becomes the first Islander to join an MLB organization since pitcher Matthew Watson, who was drafted by the Padres in the 13th round of the 2024 amateur draft. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.